Let me tell you something today. Sometimes the strongest move you can make is silence, not anger, not revenge, not long explanations, just silence. When someone takes you for granted, it means they got comfortable. They stopped valuing your presence, your effort, your love. They assumed you would always be there, no matter how little they gave back. And that's where the power of ignoring comes in. See, when you stop chasing, stop explaining, and stop begging for attention, something powerful happens. You take your energy back. You reclaim your worth. You remind yourself that you are not an option. You are a priority. Ignoring doesn't mean you don't care. It means you finally care about yourself more. Some people don't realize what they had until they lose access to it. Your silence creates reflection. Your absence creates awareness. And your distance creates regret. You see, when you were always available, they felt secure. When you were always forgiving, they felt untouchable. But the moment you stepped back, they started to feel your value because now they feel the loss. Let me tell you something. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. The right person will never need convincing. They will show up. They will respect you. They will protect your heart. So if someone took you for granted, don't argue, don't fight, don't beg, elevate, grow. Focus, heal, and move forward. Because sometimes the greatest comeback is becoming so strong, so confident, and so happy that they realize they lost someone irreplaceable. And by then, you won't even be looking back. Silence is power, and most people don't understand that. They think power is in shouting, arguing, proving, explaining, and fighting to be understood. But real power is in control, and control comes from silence. When someone takes you for granted, your first instinct is to speak up, to complain, to ask why, to demand answers. But every time you do that, you give them more control over your emotions. You show them that they still affect you, that they still have access to your energy, your time, and your peace. Silence changes the entire game. When you stop reacting, you stop feeding their ego. When you stop explaining, you stop justifying your worth. When you stop chasing, you take back your power. Silence sends a strong message: I know my value, and I don't need to beg for respect. Ignoring someone who took you for granted doesn't mean you are weak or bitter. It means you are finally strong enough to protect your heart. It means you understand that not everyone deserves access to your life, your emotions, and your attention. Some people only appreciate you when they realize they can't reach you anymore. Silence forces people to think. When you are no longer available, no longer responding, no longer explaining yourself, they start replaying their actions. They start questioning their behavior. They start realizing what they lost. Your silence becomes a mirror that reflects their mistakes back to them. When you were always there, they felt secure. When you were always forgiving, they felt untouchable. When you were always understanding, they felt comfortable disrespecting you. But when you step into silence, they feel the shift. They feel the space. They feel the absence. And in that absence, they finally understand your value. Silence is not punishment. Silence is self-respect. It is choosing peace over chaos. It is choosing dignity over desperation. It is choosing growth over emotional exhaustion. You don't owe anyone endless chances, endless explanations, or endless forgiveness. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to walk away quietly. When you stop talking, you start healing. You stop reopening wounds. You stop reliving pain. You stop draining yourself emotionally. Silence creates space for clarity, for strength, and for rebuilding yourself. And let's be honest, some people only stay as long as you tolerate disrespect. The moment you stop tolerating it, they either rise to your level or disappear from your life. And both outcomes are a blessing. Silence also teaches discipline. It teaches you to control your emotions instead of letting emotions control you. It trains your mind to pause, reflect, and respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. This kind of emotional maturity changes your life, your relationships, and your future. When you master silence, you master self-control. And when you master self-control, you master power. People may think you are ignoring them, but what you are really doing is choosing yourself. You are choosing peace over pain. You are choosing healing over heartbreak. You are choosing strength over struggle. And something amazing happens when you choose silence. You begin to glow differently. Your confidence grows. Your energy shifts. Your mindset sharpens. You start attracting better people, better opportunities, and better situations because you are no longer vibrating at a level of desperation or insecurity. Silence makes you untouchable. It makes you mysterious. It makes people curious. It makes them wonder what you are thinking, what you are feeling, and how you moved on so calmly. That curiosity often turns into respect. The truth is, not everyone deserves an explanation. Not everyone deserves access. Not everyone deserves a response. Some people deserve silence, distance, and boundaries. When someone takes you for granted, the strongest message you can send is not anger. It is not tears. It is not arguments. It is peace. It is silence. It is self-focus. It is growth. Because nothing confuses and humbles people more than seeing you calm, healed, focused, and unbothered after they expected you to break. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strength. Silence is power. Silence is self-love. Self-respect comes first, always, before love, before loyalty, before attachment. Because without self-respect, nothing else in your life will ever truly work. When someone takes you for granted, it often happens slowly. Little by little, your boundaries get crossed. Your feelings get ignored. Your efforts go unnoticed. And because you care, because you hope, because you believe in patience and understanding, you allow things you shouldn't. You stay silent when you should speak. You forgive when you should walk away. You tolerate when you should set boundaries. And every time you do that, you teach people how to treat you. Self-respect means knowing when to stop giving, when to stop explaining, and when to stop waiting. It means understanding that love should never cost you your dignity. No relationship, no connection, and no emotion is worth sacrificing your self-worth. When you respect yourself, you no longer beg for attention. You no longer chase validation. You no longer settle for half effort. You no longer accept excuses. You expect consistency, honesty, and effort, not because you are demanding, but because you know your value. Self-respect changes the way you move. You start speaking with confidence. You start standing taller. You start making decisions that protect your peace instead of pleasing others. You stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. You stop dimming your light to avoid being judged. And the moment you choose self-respect, your entire life begins to shift. You start attracting people who respect you. You start losing people who benefited from your silence. You stop feeling guilty for choosing yourself. You stop apologizing for having standards. You stop feeling bad for walking away from what hurts you. Self-respect teaches you that loneliness is better than disrespect. Peace is better than chaos. Healing is better than attachment. And growth is better than staying stuck in pain. Many people stay in situations where they are taken for granted because they fear being alone. But what they don't realize is that staying in a place where you are undervalued slowly destroys your confidence, your happiness, and your mental peace. It makes you question your worth. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes you accept less than you deserve. Self-respect reminds you that you deserve more. It reminds you that you deserve love that is consistent, effort that is genuine, respect that is natural, and care that is unconditional. It reminds you that your feelings matter. Your time matters. Your energy matters. When you start respecting yourself, you become selective. You choose who gets access to your life. You choose who deserves your effort. You choose who is worthy of your emotions. You no longer let everyone walk into your world and leave chaos behind. Self-respect gives you the courage to walk away from people who only love you when it's convenient. It gives you the strength to leave situations that drain you. It gives you the power to say no without guilt. And that's when people begin to treat you differently. Not because you demanded it, but because your energy demands it. Your boundaries demand it. Your standards demand it. You begin to carry yourself with a quiet confidence that speaks louder than words. You no longer need approval. You no longer need validation. You no longer need reassurance. You trust yourself. You honor yourself. You believe in yourself. And once you do that, no one can take advantage of you again, because self-respect becomes your shield. It protects your heart. It guards your peace. It preserves your dignity. When someone takes you for granted, choosing self-respect is choosing freedom. Freedom from emotional dependency. Freedom from constant disappointment. Freedom from unhealthy attachment. Freedom from pain that no longer serves you. And the moment you choose yourself, you step into your true power. You stop surviving. You start living. You stop settling. You start rising. You stop hoping they change. You start becoming the best version of yourself. Self-respect doesn't make you selfish. It makes you strong. It makes you wise. It makes you unbreakable. And once you truly respect yourself, you will never again allow anyone to treat you as anything less than what you are worth. Absence creates value, and this is one of the hardest truths to accept. When you are always available, always understanding, always forgiving, people slowly begin to take your presence for granted. They stop appreciating your effort because it becomes normal. They stop noticing your sacrifices because they expect them. They stop valuing your love because they assume it will always be there, no matter how they treat you. Human nature often fails to appreciate what is easily accessible. When something is always within reach, it loses its perceived worth. But the moment it is gone, the reality of its importance hits hard. Your absence creates space, and in that space, people finally begin to understand what they lost. When you step back, when you stop showing up the way you used to, when you stop giving your time, your energy, and your emotions so freely, something shifts. The silence becomes loud. The emptiness becomes noticeable. The void becomes uncomfortable, and that discomfort forces reflection. They start remembering the little things you did, the support you gave, the patience you showed, the love you offered, the sacrifices you made. And suddenly, what they once ignored becomes priceless. Absence teaches people lessons that words never can. You can explain your pain 1,000 times, and it may still not change anything. But your absence speaks directly to their heart. It forces them to confront their actions. It forces them to sit with their regret. It forces them to understand that they pushed away someone who truly cared. Your absence also protects you. It removes you from emotional harm. It creates distance from disrespect. It gives you space to heal, grow, and rediscover yourself. It allows you to breathe again. It allows you to reconnect with your strength, your dreams, and your purpose. When you create distance, you begin to see clearly. You see patterns you ignored. You see red flags you excused. You see truths you avoided. Absence brings clarity, and clarity brings wisdom. You realize that you gave more than you received. You cared more than they did. You invested deeper than they ever could. And instead of feeling hurt by that realization, you begin to feel proud. Proud that you loved deeply. Proud that you tried sincerely. Proud that you stayed true to your heart. But you also learn to protect that heart. Absence teaches boundaries. It teaches you that not everyone deserves unlimited access to you. It teaches you that your time is valuable, your energy is sacred, and your emotions are precious. When you stop being easily available, you stop being easily replaceable. You become selective. You become intentional. You become powerful. People often only recognize your worth once they no longer benefit from your presence. Once your support is gone, once your comfort disappears, once your love is no longer accessible, they begin to understand your importance. And sometimes that realization comes too late. But your journey is not about waiting for someone to realize your value. It is about realizing it yourself. Your absence is not about punishment. It is about self-preservation. It is about choosing peace over pain. It is about choosing growth over emotional exhaustion. When you step away, you create space for healing. You allow your heart to rest. You allow your mind to reset. You allow your soul to breathe. And in that space, you begin to transform. You become stronger. You become wiser. You become calmer. You become more confident. you begin to glow differently. Your energy shifts. Your mindset evolves. Your standards rise. You attract better. You choose better. You become better. Absence teaches you that losing someone who didn't value you is not a loss. It is a release. It is freedom. It is protection. It is redirection towards something greater. You stop asking why they changed. You stop questioning your worth. You stop seeking closure. You start finding peace within yourself. Because the truth is, when someone takes you for granted, your absence becomes their lesson. And your growth becomes your reward. You don't need revenge. You don't need explanations. You don't need validation. Your absence is enough. Your healing is enough. Your peace is enough. And in that silence, in that distance, in that space, you finally discover your true power. When you stop chasing, everything changes. Chasing keeps you trapped in anxiety, self-doubt, and emotional exhaustion. It keeps your focus on someone else's actions instead of your own growth. It makes you question your worth, your choices, and your value. It puts your happiness in someone else's hands, and that is a dangerous place to leave it. The moment you stop chasing, you begin to attract. You shift your energy from desperation to confidence, from neediness to strength, from fear to self-belief. And that shift is powerful. Chasing means constantly reaching out, waiting for replies, hoping for attention, and seeking reassurance. It means giving more than you receive, investing in someone who is not investing in you, and holding on to situations that no longer serve you. It slowly drains your spirit and weakens your confidence. But when you stop chasing, you reclaim your power. You begin to invest in yourself. You focus on your goals. You strengthen your mindset. You improve your habits. You build your future. You heal your wounds. You rediscover your dreams. And in that process, your entire life begins to elevate. You no longer wake up checking your phone for validation. You no longer fall asleep feeling disappointed. You no longer overthink every word and action. You become calm. You become focused. You become peaceful. Your energy becomes stable, grounded, and magnetic. Attraction is not about trying harder. It is about becoming better. It is about aligning your actions with your purpose. It is about growing into the person you are meant to be. When you grow, you naturally attract people who resonate with your energy. You attract respect. You attract appreciation. You attract effort. You attract love that is genuine and consistent. You stop settling for less because you know your worth. You stop entertaining confusion because you value clarity. You stop accepting excuses because you demand actions. Chasing keeps you in survival mode. Attracting puts you in growth mode. When you chase, you are reacting. When you attract, you are creating. You create opportunities. You create peace. You create success. You create confidence. You realize that your purpose is bigger than any single person. Your dreams are bigger than any single relationship. Your future is too valuable to be wasted on chasing someone who does not see your worth. As you begin to focus on yourself, something beautiful happens. You start to glow. Your confidence grows. Your presence becomes stronger. Your mindset becomes sharper. Your goals become clearer. And people notice, not because you chase them, but because your growth speaks for itself. Your silence becomes strength. Your peace becomes attractive. Your confidence becomes magnetic. You begin to inspire others simply by the way you carry yourself. You walk with purpose. You speak with clarity. You move with intention. You stop seeking approval. You stop needing validation. You stop waiting for permission to live your life fully. You become independent emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And in that independence, you find freedom. Freedom from emotional dependency. Freedom from constant disappointment. Freedom from unhealthy attachment. You learn that happiness is an inside job. No one can give it to you, and no one can take it away from you. When you stop chasing, you give yourself space to grow. You give yourself time to heal. You give yourself permission to evolve. You stop asking why someone did not choose you. You start choosing yourself. You stop wondering what you did wrong. You start doing what is right for you. You stop hoping for someone to change. You start changing your life. And that is where true attraction begins. Because the strongest magnet in the world is a person who knows their purpose, honors their worth, and lives in alignment with their truth. When you stop chasing and start attracting, you don't lose people. You lose illusions. You lose attachments that held you back. You lose expectations that drained you. And in return, you gain clarity, peace, strength, and direction. You gain yourself.